Hi, welcome back to my channel Cloud Optimize. I'm Harish Godedi, founder of Cloud Optimize Solutions. Today we're going to talk about multiple AWS accounts. So one of the biggest dilemmas is, do we really need them? So I have seen uh, many instances where customers create multiple AWS accounts only to realize that they don't really need them. Today we're going to talk about the reasons why you probably need them, and if it makes sense for you to really go ahead and create those accounts. So let's go ahead and look at all the reasons why you probably need multiple AWS accounts. The first one is security controls. So what do you mean by security controls is, let's say your business goes through an auditing for some departments that use AWS. In that case, it is beneficial and it is advisable to have a separate AWS account and all the work that, run all the workloads that get audited in that account, so that when that person comes in, when the auditor comes in, you can just hand over that account for them to do the audit, rather than going through everything in your company, right? So that, if you have very specific security controls requirement, then it makes sense to create a separate AWS account for it. The next reason would be isolation of accounts. um, if you are in a high risk region, for example, where you believe that there will be a lot of attempts on hacking and stuff like that, in that case you probably want to have different AWS accounts for your production environment, development environment, things like that, so that you can isolate. If there's a damage, you can limit it to a specific AWS account. Security threats, right? So you can limit it to a very specific AWS account. So that's another reason you probably want to create a separate multiple AWS accounts. The third one, this is the most obvious reason that multiple AWS accounts are created. It's multiple teams. If you have multiple teams working on their own different projects, everyone wants to have their own AWS account, right? So that is probably the main reason, and probably is a valid reason, and I believe it's a valid reason because it is very good to have different accounts by different teams, so that they can do their own thing and not overlap each other and stuff like that. So the multiple teams is one good reason to have a multiple AWS account. Next is data isolation. As you know, there are so many laws, e-laws. Then you have in the US you have PII data. So if you want, if your company is serving clients or customers who needs to have data in a very specific region, then it makes sense. And you have other teams who use different regions then it makes sense to have multiple database accounts, where one database account is tied to a specific region and all the data is in that particular region and won't go over to other regions. So that is one good reason to have multiple AWS accounts. The next one is business processes. So this is little confusing for many, but what I mean by business process is, let's say you have just like department, you have different business processes. Like, let's say you have a contact center. It's like serving your entire clients, right? So then you want probably that the entire business process is different to actually developing a software product, or developing an application, right? So the business processes for them, like how they apply for, how they how they capture, what of the data they need is different. If your entire business process is different than the other ones, multiple different processes in the company, then you probably want to have a different AWS account, right? So that will really help. And the next one is billing. This is another main reason that a lot of companies have multiple AWS accounts. You want to isolate, you want to have different line items or separate billing items for each account. So even if you have multiple AWS accounts, you can consolidate, get a consolidated billing with AWS organizations, but you still have a different line items for billing. So that's really cool because for billing purposes, you can see where the bill, I mean, you can have different line items for each of your AWS accounts. So that's one of the another main reasons. Multiple teams and billing are the two main reasons for having multiple AWS accounts in most cases. The final thing is quota management. What I mean by quota management is, let's say you have a team, development team, and you want to allocate a specific quota for that particular team, and don't want them to, just go crazy with all the AWS resources, right? So in those cases, you can create a specific account, and you can allocate quotas for each of those account, so that they don't they don't exceed their quota of this AWS resources, and you can save your costs. So that's another main reason for having multiple accounts. So these are the reasons, why 7 reasons are probably why you want to have multiple AWS accounts. If none of these apply, please don't create multiple AWS accounts, because it doesn't serve anything for you. It's just creates more work for you. So I hope this video is useful for you and gives you an insight on why you need multiple AWS accounts. So please go ahead and like the video if you like it, and subscribe to this channel, because I'm gonna post a lot of content on AWS, migration, optimization, and also management of AWS. Thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.